soon. So the next game, speaking of one of the powerhouse teams, we had the Bills versus the Packers. The Packers went over to Buffalo and they only scored 17 points. They total was it was 17-27. Bills took care of business. We saw Aaron Rodgers struggle a little bit with his receiving core. They didn't throw it late in the game, which was kind of odd. And then they didn't run it early in the game when they were running well. So it was kind of a weird game. I definitely expected more from the Packers. I figured this would be the game where Aaron Rodgers and their receiving core kind of get things together. Christian Watson goes down early with a concussion, and then I mean Romeo Dobbs had a pretty good game, but again, it's just these things that just don't work in their favor, and you can't fall behind the Bills because the Bills just put up numbers at will. So
Yeah, this was a game. It kind of went for the most part how I would have expected this game to go. We talked about this. This is another game we talked about last week. I said, yeah, I feel like the Bills, they're gonna, kind of get on the roll early, and they could kind of run away with this one. This pretty much was that game. The score doesn't reflect it as much as it was, but this game wasn't close from start to finish. The Bills were, kind of cruising on this one. If it wasn't for a bunch of turnovers late in the game by the Bills,
would have been probably a little bit.
this would have been a real blowout.
Right.
Like you said, the Packers, I mean, they kind of just rolled over. To me, they did stop throwing the ball and they started leaning on their run game because that was the only thing that was working. But when you make that decision that you're pretty much giving up the game.
Right.
So I felt like at that point, they kind of made the decision like, all right, let's just try to get some positive things going for our team so we can set ourselves back up for, the coming weeks
Right.
instead of actually trying to win the game. And yeah, I mean, look, I had some same game parlays, and if they would have just played like they were trying to win the game, unless Aaron Rodgers threw 3 picks towards in the second half, they were gonna cover no problem, and they
Right.
just kind of rolled over, and they let Aaron Jones run for a bunch of yards, but they were meaningless. So
Yeah, it wasn't really. It
what
was
does that
garbage
get
time
you?
yards.
Did happen though was at the end, all said and done, the Packers do cover the spread. It was a 10.5 point spread. They lose by 10. They actually cover that spread.
With the half.
Up front. Yeah. So, things went that way. But yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say disappointing for the Packers. I mean, I guess in a way, it's disappointing to watch this happen to them. But certainly not surprising, and pretty much along the lines of what I expected from them. What I would have expected though was, like I said, for them to at least try more. Like we see this. This is a 10 point loss. You
Right.
can't just give up on throwing the ball early in the fourth quarter,
With
pretty
Aaron
much.
Rodgers at that.
Yeah, it's like 14 minutes left in the fourth, and you give up
seen-
on throwing, and then they start throwing again later, like when like 4 minutes left. But at that point, it's like, all right, you guys kind of gave the game up already.
Yeah, you kind of shot yourself in the foot. What's
Yeah.
crazy is I had a same game parlay too, and it was Aaron Rodgers 225 yards. I figured he was gonna end up slinging it, and we'll see more of Aaron Rodgers. And they just stopped throwing the ball,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was the only leg that I needed.
Yeah,
225.
same thing that happens to me.
So,
Aaron Rodgers passing yards
Um,
kills me too.